divine. And part of us is still back home. All nobles and hierarchy respected. Greetings to the board members and executive of LECDA. Thank you, Community News Gaza. Thank you, LECDA Live. Thank you, brothers and sisters. Thank you, DJ. And I'm humbled, not me alone, my wife, Brenda A. Amin, my kids, to have been granted this singular opportunity for today to talk to you about a vision I bought into right off listening to it. And for the sake of time, I'll try to do it a little different. And what is this vision? This is about a patriotic gentleman in the name of Mr. Afwe James. And from digging other archives, I learned that this is a vision that has been lingering around the corridors of the BLM for too long. And I say thank you, the CEO of LECDA and the board, of which I'm equally a member, to have bought into this vision right off, and we went to work right off after the last LECDA Convention 2023. During that session, we realized that the Vision 2028 was great, but was not enough for the BLM person. And cognizant of the fact that during that session, I found out something very singularly important to all of you. You might do it unconsciously, but it was conscious to me that the BLM person is very patriotic. But how do we exhibit this patriotism? I will take us back to the theme of the convention, which is achieving the BLM paradise through unity and development. But I would like us to look into a couple of things about that theme. What is unity? I know it's the name of a gentleman I know lives in the Dallas area. And what is unity? This is not a test of understanding, but I want us to dive a little bit deep into the things we say on an ordinary basis. It's like you say good morning to somebody, but you failing to understand that at 11 a.m., maybe no one ever greeted that person. You are the first to do it, but you don't know that. But unity means undivided. And if you have to achieve this unity, which is part of the team, it means you can't divide. It has been mentioned here already about 17 fundums. And in that 17 fundum comes 3 subdivisions. If you look at the word paradise, it's mentioned in the Bible for those who are Christian enough than myself. I found out that paradise is mentioned in the Bible 3 times. But being a member of this board, when they carve this vision, when they use the word paradise, I don't want to speak for Mr. James Afwe. If you realize that paradise was used 3 times biblically, in Luke, in Corinthians, and in Revelation. And that easily tied to the 3 subdivisions of the BLM. So you can see how the team is uniting into the vision. And when we look at the word development, I'm not sure if my mom knew the day I was conceived that I'll be standing here. But that kind of development is not good enough. Because every one of us here being a parent, we are aware that we're going to give birth to some great personality tomorrow. But trust me, if your child grows only within the house, never comes out to create an impact in a neighbor's house or in another state, like His Excellency in Kenosong, just to name that alone, then we're all excited when LECDA called for a welcome reception for His Excellency in Kenosong. We all show up. I know faces here that showed up. Why did we do that? Why did we do that? Because of the kind of unity we have. But today, a vision is asking for how much? With all due respect to Michigan, I love $50. But what this vision is asking is a little different. You can do the $50, you can do the $125, you can equally do 1,000 or more. The club is stratified differently by the CFO when he publishes record. But during this brainstorming, we realized that 30 cents a day. That reminds me when I was a cashier in Rite Aid in New York. I'm not sure, if you've never been a cashier, you've been missing something that I didn't miss. Who here will not support 30 cents to St. Jude's Society to support children for cancer? 35 cents. If you're not going to do that, let me get a show of hands. I might ask you the next question. Who here is not going to support American Heart Association to promote different discovery to resolve heart issues? But today, when we ask for 35 cents a day, that's amount to $125 a year. And if you do the math, we heard LECDA Life said there are over 3,000 members in LECDA Life, majority of which is not the BLMers. I don't know what we are up to. But then I want to say this. We are over 3,000 BLM sons and daughters in the United States. If you check the number. Thank you for the America by Road. I begin to realize that there are more the BLMers in the United States who came by road than those who flew the plane. But the truth is, if we buy into this dream, 35 cents a day, I will use the illustration of the former speaker. $125 annually with $100 for restricted funds. And what is restricted funds? There is a motto of this convention that says love, peace, and vigilance. If we all contribute this money and stay very vigilant, we will see what is happening with this money. And I don't have enough time to actually illustrate certain things here. A lot has been discussed. Fundum presidents don't show up at the board meetings, so they don't bring information back to the different fundums, which I encourage we should do that. But I want to take us a little bit back to the illustration of last year. $100 for 2,000 persons is going to put us at the exchange rate. I would like to look at the data. At the exchange rate of $500 CFA, 2,000 members contributing $100 towards restricted funds is going to give us $100 million annually. I want His Majesty to keep that number. 2,100 annually, convert at an average rate of $500 for exchange rate, which of course we all send money home, is going to give us 100 million CFA per annum. If we do that continuously within the next 50 years, I know we all define paradise very different. But then, When I dug into some archives, the Bible defines it very closely. Where Adam and Eve lived. I'm not sure where they lived. But what I understand about where Adam and Eve lived was a place where everything seems to be fun. And there's a couple of timeline of the different things we're gonna see when we break down. I know didactically programs like this, I was humbled last night by His Majesty when he addresses us and mentioned a lot of didactic information on structures on how to manage events like this. But all these are in my recommendations, and I mentioned some earlier. So, but I want to take us to some scenarios that we take advantage of. We are not in the United States by chance. I think we're here by divine. And part of us is still back home. I'll read something to all of us. I remember the letter from Birmingham jail from Martin Luther King. And I want to read this excerpt. Injustice anywhere is threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Wherever efforts are directly, whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. For those who never read the entire letter from Birmingham J, it's a long, long letter over a couple of pages. But I want us to see the situational analysis we're doing here today. You are in the United States. The CFO told us over thousands of people came through Moabuto Health Center. I was heartbroken sitting over there. But we don't even schedule our doctor's appointment because we feel like we're strong enough. I feel like we're doing injustice to the people back in the BLM. We have to start thinking different. And change, the way I look at change. Change is a subtle thing, but it takes very little to do that. When someone like Gandhi chooses to walk 24 days with Indians, 240 miles to the Red Sea to collect salt. That's not what we are asking you today. We're not asking you to walk miles. We're asking you if you're doing something to American Heart Association, St. Jude Society, you can equally do it to your brothers and sisters in the BLM. And I don't see that very difficult to do. So, but what is the big challenge? Not that we don't have it. It's our commitment. And that brings me back to the unity. I can tell that when we walk into this hall, we walk towards different sitting positions because we recognize each other. Can you turn around and look at your brothers and sisters checking that list as if they contributed? Or can we remind each other if we don't see their name on that list and ask them, brother, sister, what is the challenge? Because I believe when a challenge once set, it's already a process to getting resolved. But there are some recommendations I'm going to make to LECDA USA. A couple of us have mentioned those recommendations. And His Majesty mentioned some yesterday. I believe strongly to achieve this vision, we need to have LECDA USA network with LECDA Canada, which is an association that I've attended their their convention. And for those who have not attended, you'll be surprised that LECDA Canada moves a lot of dust than LECDA United States. And they are very united and they are very uniform. If you go to LECDA Canada, they are all uniformly dressed. So that kind of network with LECDA Europe, like the CEO mentioned, at the board level, we agree that he flies out to LECDA Europe and get that kind of conversation going. LECDA equally has to establish communication on the ground. Because I believe if you are not on the ground, you cannot create the change. Like we earlier said, two speakers mentioned, money was well used, we don't know where the money is. That is an example of when you are not on the ground, but when you are properly represented on the ground, then you will be dispersing funds to appropriate quarters. And just so you know, LECDA equally has to commit with the parliamentarians, the mayor, the senators, the SDUs, in order to overcome hurdles. The clergymen, religious groups, Catholic groups, in order to see that they overcome the necessary challenges. And our neighbors too should not be left out, because we normally go through another division to get to the BLM. But then, another reflection I had regarding LECDA and Vision 2050 is the fact that we all can tell that LECDA has been going through some challenges. My single recommendation, and some henchmen of LECDA believe that if we tweak our structure in LECDA a little bit, not changing LECDA, but tweaking the structure such that LECDA can function from the top as a federated organization, using the 17 fundums, because there are a couple of fundums here that challenged us when we went around. How are we going to do this development? We're already digging roads. But the truth is, if you walk through the fundums, you act like a federated state. The fundum sends in their project. LECDA has a committee of project writers. They evaluate your project. If it doesn't pass the litmus test, they help you to get that project, meets the litmus test. Then now we should have NGOs in Cameroon. For those who know how things get done in Cameroon, you have NGOs in Cameroon that you can use them to implement all these projects. I see the dream right in front of me, but I cannot reach it by myself. It is only when we tie together, then we can reach that dream. And I know we can all do this. And for those who have not been able to look at the video that is going around, I know there are some timelines I want to bring to your attention to some projects, because people ask, how are we going to do this? But obviously, sometime by 2025, we should be doing benches to the 3 different subdivisions. And this is not going to happen by me talking here. It's going to happen by us all chipping in and making sure this happens. And 2027, reconstruction of credit unions. Thanks to the Lokuno community in the BLM, they are already talking about their credit unions. We're also going to be looking at cooperative development. We're going to also be looking at agricultural productivity. So when you look at the video, look at it keenly to be able to see that it's a timeline for every achievable dream. And these dreams will be achieved because we all stand together, work together, stay vigilant, exercise patience, be peaceful as we communicate this dream to one another, show love most importantly, because I want us to believe, as the BLM is situated in Africa, and the African philosophy of Ubuntu, we all know is the philosophy of oneness. I am because you are. So I'm not sure how we can say no to such great philosophical development. I am because you are. I am here because my mom was somewhere before I am. And what am I doing while we're in the United States? I desist this issue of creating and believing that we're going to do it as some groups without contributing together. Because for those who know the BLM, I will quote my grandma used to say the BLM Alamo one. A couple of you might know my grandma, he told me the BLM Lamo one will abunda a mama from them. So, but we know how challenging it is growing up as a gentleman and knowing the challenges our society are facing. I have cousins all over the BLM. I have uncles in Induwated. I have cousins from Mombi. So if we start looking at ourselves like connected with one another, and trust me, there are people who can connect us one after the other. Because my grandma used to say, Bulambunde emama fontem, mo fontem aboro wo, yimo ngo fi. So she will create a network of everybody in the BLM. But today what we are trying to do is, we are trying to identify with us. I see this philosophy like, don't you see the population I have? No, you don't need to tell anybody. Go for them. Go show me your in there. It was a fountain at the Bimbo Somo. So, I'm thinking that we should stop trying to pointing fingers to ourselves and pointing fingers to the next person who is across. And we should ask ourselves, what are we going to do for the BLM if at all we're going to retire and return to the BLM? Why was Nelson Mandela in jail for 27 years? What are we doing to ourselves? For no reason am I undermining great efforts of the BLM as creating change in the BLM. But they have to invite each and every one of you to join in that dream, to create that change. But we can do this through LECDA United States. Just 35 cents a day, $125 annually, $100 restricted funds, $25 will be used for stationaries, management, and overhead expenses. And a mother in Induwated asked a question to some of us: how are these funds going to be managed? If the CEO of any of the fandom is not present at the board to see how the funds are managed, then it's like you pay the tuition of the child in school, you didn't ask for the report booklet. So who are you going to blame? You still have to start blaming yourself for electing someone who will not be representative of you, which is an idea we are diseasing from this convention today. Elect those who will be there for you and bring you back feedback, because such a mom will not have that kind of question. So I'm pleading with you all today that I believe in the philosophy of one love. For those who are LECDA members, that's my belief, one love. And if you want to test my love for the BLM people, ask me to talk. I went to school to talk. So, and how do I believe in one love? When you're looking at your brother, be genuine to them. As you go, you might come back and meet that same brother or sister. Like I said, my story, I was a cashier and I watched Americans donating back the change to American Heart Association. But I told them I don't have a change. But now I found a reason why I have a change. And I watch most of you doing the same thing at my register, but you did not know I was a cashier. I can confess, one of us is not here. He will come where I'm the cashier, but he didn't realize I'm the cashier. But the good thing is, last year he sent his money and his children for this same cause. So I'm calling on all of you, even if you don't like me that much, you don't love me that much, I will ask you love Le BLM. I know we have families back home, because I know the people on this table, everybody here, I don't want to call them by name, but the truth is, I'm begging that today we all should rise and make a commitment to ourselves, and by show of love, peace, stay vigilant, and for the fact that we have to achieve something while we're alive, not waiting when something happens. We should all pull our weight into LECDA Vision 2050. Stay vigilant, watch and see what is happening. Commit your Fundum CEOs to stay at the board, see the progress, bring your lovely ideas so that we change the BLM into a paradise we all are looking for. But just so you know, in that paradise there will be no Christ, because the notion of paradise has to do with Jesus creating checks and balances. But it means the paradise will be a kind of paradise that we all would love to see and retire to the BLM. I say thank you all. I say thank you, His Majesty, for the sake of time. I said one love to you all. Please, 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 I cannot ask you enough. The LECDA community cannot ask you enough. The BLM community cannot ask you enough. Let's do what others have refused to do. Let's take the front lead as the BLMers and start creating the change that is needed for the BLM people. By the way, don't forget that we are not privileged in most things from the short time I've been on earth, being in the country. We are not privileged because either there is one reason or the other why they don't want to do that. But trust me, 100 million annually, 10 years is how much we will create about a change. Even if you can't dream it, you can give me a call at 646-642-0426. I'm going to help you in your own dream to see this dream being a reality. I love you all. Enjoy your time. And there is nothing I'm going to be talking again on earth apart from the BLM Vision 2050. Thank you all, and I love you. One love. Take care of yourself.